What's up, guys? What's up, guys? This is Super Mike 164.
Part of Toy Boogie is the curious they have a
All right, guys, what's going on? This is Super Mike 2164. I just got to respond to a couple of things on the, like people, we celebrate a lot of death in this country. You know, black people, a lot of us have been conditioned under a situation where we always in, just a situation where we're always, having a pity party, which, I mean, some of that's got to happen, but at the same time, sometimes we get into this real negative mindset. We get into a real negative mindset, and we don't want to hear nothing. And it's almost like concrete. It could be a little bit of truth to something, but most of it be lies. And we just take the whole thing as it be lies. A lot of it, most of it's lies. But we just sit up there and take the whole thing. And when even the truth comes to us, we still act like we ain't heard nothing. We just dismiss everything that if we don't want to believe it, then we think we can just dismiss facts. And Dynasty Mirror, I love the brother. He does really good work. But, he did a little show. I was on this show a couple of weeks ago. And I just want to, I'm getting a few things together, so bear with me, guys. There's too many coons on here. So, share the screen. There it is. So, this is the show in question. The brother did this show, and he was talking to, the various guests that he has on. Some of the subscribers, he opened the floor up. He played this particular portion of Minister Farrakhan, a 1993 speech. Excuse me. You say, I really want to get it. That's a lie. Hold on 1 second. You see, I would like to get the real video of it. I'd like to get the real video of this, but he played a speech. When Minister Farrakhan was talking about, oh, there it is. I think that was it. And I've done this, like I said, these are one of those stories that we're just going to have to keep talking about every so often, because people are still going to keep on with the lies and stuff. But, I'm actually glad I didn't call into the show, because just listening to the show that Dynas ran, the people are starting to get the message. Even the ones that's outside of the nation, it don't make no sense.
Allah has given me enough.
Let me see.
What used to be that? Look at what was brought out of.
All right. I think that's the same one. But I don't know if that's the same. All right, let's see if we go to this one. Nope. No. I think this is it, but is this part 3?
Anything about our integration.
I think
This case, Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, well, don't pay that no attention, brother. Go right on with your work. How do you know this, Farrakhan? Because I walked in Malcolm's shoes. I can tell you a lot about his feet that no man can tell you about. Because I walked in his shoes. Malcolm could not take the enmity, the strife of his own brothers. And he would come to Boston, where he was always accepted. I was the minister there. And he would tell me, I'm just going to quit. I'm not going to go around and try to help no ministers and preach in their mosque. I'm just going to leave it all alone and go back to New York and build New York. I said, well, Minister Malcolm, don't put me in the mosque in Boston out because some others think like that. I don't think like that. He was being worn down. And guess what? In 1963, Imam Warithuddin, the son of Elijah Muhammad, came out of prison. He was sent to prison for not going along with the draft. As you recall, he came out of prison in the winter of 62, I think it was. The winter of 62, wasn't it? And in the winter of 62.
All right, so with this show, I'm going to play a couple of clips. I was on Dynas Demir's show a few weeks ago, and it was actually about a completely different subject. But once I got on, and they just really wanted to bash the nation. So it just seems like a lot of times on Dynas' show, they get into this little frenzy where they just start bashing the nation. The brother just starts getting into a frenzy. That's a good picture of him. I should have clipped that. But the point is, I think I'll say that'll be my thumbnail. No, but the point is, the brother, he gets into a frenzy where they start bashing the nation. And they can't stop. They're worried about Scientology. They're worried about the Dianetics program. These guys are worried about, they're worried about a lot, especially them never being in the nation. They're talking about what the nation ain't doing right, what Minister Farrakhan's not doing right. I don't know what they think they're doing. Do they think they're helping anybody? I mean, you're not invested in it. So all you're doing is kind of nitpicking at the worst elements that you can see. And then a lot of times you're wrong. And then when you're factually proven incorrect, it's like you don't want to hear it. You know, and you get in there and let people come in here and just sit there and agreeing with you. So let's look at this part that Dynas put up. I'm not going to look at it on his video, but I just want y'all to hear it. Hold on.
So that's cool right there. Hold on.
Let's look at this, what he's talking about.
Being a nation of our own. And when it comes to Malcolm X, the Nation of Islam, they will, they will play hot potato, and they will not give a clear, definite answer that makes sense. They will not hold themselves accountable. They will not take responsibility for some reason. They always point the finger. And if you listen to them explain, why, Scientology. Okay, you say you want to build a nation of your own, but now you don't want to build a nation of your own. You say you want to separate from the white man, but you want to stay here in America and build a nation within the white man's nation. You say you had nothing to do with Malcolm X, but you created the environment to kill Malcolm X. You said the Nation of Islam had nothing to do with the killing of Malcolm X, but the individuals, 2 were exonerated, but the other 2 have not been exonerated, and they admitted to killing and shooting Malcolm X. Like, what is it? So let me play this video real quick. This is very interesting. Let me play this video real quick.
Now he's gonna try to play the video. The video messes up at first, so let's skip to where it goes.
Here would become a killer instantaneously. Am I lying? Mother, let somebody look like they're attacking your child. There's a woman who fought a bear because the bear snatched her baby. And she ran the bear down, screaming until the bear dropped her baby. Love casts out fear. We don't give a damn about no white man law when you attack what we love. And frankly, it ain't none of your business. What have you got to say about it? Did you teach Malcolm? Did you make Malcolm? Did you clean up Malcolm? Did you put Malcolm out before the world? Was Malcolm your traitor or was he ours? And if we dealt with him like a nation deals with a traitor, what the hell business is it of yours? You just shut your mouth and stay out of it. Because in the future, we're going to become a nation.
What's going on, everybody? Go ahead and press the thumbs up button. Right now, we're just playing something from a show earlier that Brother Dynas Amir played. And I'm just making sure that I address a couple points that he brought up on his show. I mean, it's the same old stuff. These guys, they kind of put this stuff out. So he's playing the part of Minister Farrakhan, 1993 Savior's Day, and what he dealt with Malcolm X. This is this follow-up because I remember actually went to that one. And we did it at Malcolm X College. But, the Malcolm X the Malcolm X movie had just came out, and this was addressed because the push by the mainstream media after the Denzel Washington Malcolm X movie had put a lot of information out there. And so this is resurfaced. This right here had resurfaced. And the mainstream media, of course, they hate Mr. Farrakhan. They hate black people doing something for themselves. These are the same people that hate us having anything, same people that we've been having problems with for decades and decades and decades. You know, they have a lot of influence in the media. They have a lot of influence on the news. And so, of course, they're going to put out these type of narratives, these weird narratives. A lot of them are false, misleading. They put a little truth in there, and then they kind of mix it up with some crazy stuff. But this right here, this is Minister Farrakhan. He was responding to, he was teaching. They clip out this part because, you know, to people who have no context of what's going on, they form a first impression. And if we know, once people form an impression, it's kind of hard for them to change up what they already confirmation bias. So, you know, I'm not going to show his video, but I just want to keep
turncoats. The white man deals with his. The Jews deal with theirs. Salman Rushdie wrote a nasty thing about the prophet, and Imam Khomeini put out a death thing on him, and it stands today. A certain path you don't cross.
All right. Let's see.
Yeah, I love Elijah Muhammad.
All right, so let's see what Dinah says after that.
Path you don't cross.
All right, let's see what Dinah's talking about.
All right, so hey guys, at the end of the day, only 2 of the 4 were exonerated. Thomas Hagen was not exonerated, and there was one more guy that wasn't exonerated. In fact, in the documentary Who Killed Malcolm X, the guy that was the focus of that documentary, who was cool with Cory Booker, who actually was.
So first off, guys, he said only 2 of the 4 were exonerated. Talking about Thomas Hagen. Okay, let's let him finish. I mean, I just, like I said, facts don't matter to some people, and you'll see later on. He literally says they throw away facts that counter their narrative. Like people right here in the chat are telling this person that some people saying, "Oh, the NOI teamed up with White Zaddy to kill Malcolm." I mean, just think about that logically. You know, why would the NOI need to team up with anyone to do something like that? That's stupid. That's absolutely insane. Then we got someone says it's amazing how no one actually lives Malcolm or walks his path, yet you claim authority. Exactly. So, you know, we got a mixture here. We got people in the chat that's pro and con. Now, Dynast is obviously doesn't like the way the Nation of Islam is operated, you know, and that's his opinion. But, you know, so.
Still involved in attended one of the Nation of Islam mosques in New Jersey. I don't think he was exonerated.
So first off, Dynast has to wait for the white man to exonerate someone before he believes anything. So right there lets us know. I'm just saying, his authority is still the white man. I mean, and that's cool, but it's like how, that's a problem right there. If you got to wait for them to tell on themselves, then what's the you're in a messed up situation. You got to wait for these people to tell on themselves before you believe that they did some that they set. Malcolm was set up. We got the Ray. I mean, we got the Ray Wood confession already, and I'm gonna try to find. Oh, I think it's. Let's see. I want to find that. I mean, I got the ebook here. I should have had all this stuff ready. But the point is, I think I can do it on Amazon. Yeah, I think I have this already. Hold on a second here. Let's see. Let me log in, guys. I mean, I'm just kind of going through some of his points. But the bottom line is Ray Wood, government agent from Boss, confessed. Malcolm X's family, daughters, don't believe the minister had anything to do with it or the Nation of Islam, and they've been investigating this for years. These are people who are just, I mean, it's like when you get that confirmation bias, nobody can do anything for you. Dang. Hold on. This is crazy. Dude, I'm trying to put in this password. All right, I'm not doing this. Yeah, but that was set up already. I got the books here and right here. I can show it to y'all. Actually, hold on. Let me pull up some stuff. Thomas Hagen, he actually admitted the whole thing to assassinating Malcolm X, but these guys don't trust him unless the government gives them the word. And let me just address a couple of pieces to this. The Nation of Islam, the people that are alive, mostly in the Nation of Islam now, they weren't even alive at the time or in the nation at that time. He makes a couple claims here that's dumb. The nation once. Let's look at this.
So, and something else that was interesting in this video, Farrakhan mentioned how when they build a nation of their own, how they're going to have to deal with their traitors.
All right, so this right here, when he says they build, so I just need y'all to understand that that language tells us that he doesn't have the concept of nation that the Nation of Islam has. The Nation of Islam is all the black people here. The black nation, okay? Whether you believe it or not, you are included in that. So it is something that we are going to do. It's not they. You see, these are black people that are from America. So when you're talking about they building a nation, we are already a nation. We have to take our territory. We're on that process, the road of getting recognized and all this type of stuff. Those are the kind of things that this, Dianus he believes that you are not something, you have to be a recognized something until it is true. So other people has to legitimize him, legitimize his definitions. You see what I'm saying? A nation, if you look at the United States of America, they start coming over here as in Britain, and started establishing their 13 colonies. Was it 1607? From 1607 to 1776. How many years is that? 1607 to 1776 is about 169 years. Okay, so you build up to becoming officially recognized as a nation. They did a Declaration of Independence. We've done that. All of those things have been done. But you still have to build the people. You have to create the territory. You have to become it. You have to grow into what you're doing. This is something that this guy doesn't understand. He's not good at planning. Dinas, he's more like a party guy, and that's cool, But when he starts to go try to analyze these kind of things like nation building, the steps, the stages in development of the people, he doesn't understand when you're in the beginning stages, you're kind of rough. You're got how to, he see people that trips me out. These people that analyze the Nation of Islam. If we were to listen to these people, when I say listen to them, I'm just saying do as they recommend us do. We wouldn't have anything. How can we listen to them? But keep going. Listen.
But how can you deal with your traitors or your people when now you're saying, we don't really mean that we're going to build a nation of our own. We're going to build a nation within America where we have our own farmland. That's not a nation. You still govern and police by the laws of the United States of America.
All right, so that's how dumb Dinas is. Dinas, I'm sorry, brother. This is not intelligent. This man doesn't understand the stages of a nation. How long was your United States of America governed and policed, then laws of England and Britain? How long was that happening? How long did that happen? And like I said, he said the same thing here. Now, I was on this show. This was a couple weeks ago. Now, I really don't want to play this part, but I just wanted to. Brandon went and talked. Brandon talks a lot of stuff. But that's me right there. And this is under fair use, and I'm on this show, so on this portion, so I'm going to play this portion. But this portion is just for commentary here.
It's not genuine. Like this brother, in just 5 minutes of him talking, he has totally changed the original mission of the Nation of Islam.
Okay, so they believe that because he just wanted to argue. These people, they just turn around the back of the final call and they believe that's the only place that you analyze what the mission of the Nation of Islam is. Hold on. I want to get to the part where, because Dinah says the same thing. Said the same thing he said just now. Hold on, let's see what he said.
Let me just ask this real quick. We'll be brief. The farmland. I'm still trying to figure out how that is separating from America, because my family has a ton of farmland in Terry, Mississippi. They still got to pay taxes. They still rely on the municipal services from that city. Infrastructure, water, everything is still coming from the city. So I don't understand how that's separating if you still are dependent on America by just acquiring land. So if you could expand on that, then we'll pass it back to Chief, and then Brandon is on. But go ahead, Mike.
Let me ask that directly. Number one, when you separate, and Minister Farrakhan already has given these examples numerous times over the years. If you look at Chinatowns, you look at, we got Greek towns in
They're
Detroit. I
not
know.
separate, but they're not
Hold
separate.
on,
They're not.
hold
Go
on.
ahead. Go ahead.
No, no. This is the style of separation that you do within the context of a nation. They control that area. They have the police in that area. I know if you're in Georgia, you go to Norcross, Georgia, you go to those areas where the Asians and Koreans and things like that, they dominate those areas. They are the police. That's what I mean. This is a society, even though they do pay taxes, but the taxes go in a closed loop because they control their tax dollars because they are the politicians, and those politicians respond to the people need in that area. So the problem that we've been having, we have not had control economic from the ground up. And that takes what we call a gentrified method. It's like kind of like what the Hispanics are doing in California. It's a decades uh, process, and a lot of black folks are not too impatient for that. We're thinking that we're supposed to take some guns and overthrow something like that. It doesn't work like that. See, listen, look, and the thing is, now I explained this to this guy. This is a planned process, but they can't see it because all they're thinking, that's the end all be all process. They're not good at step by step by step by step. Things are done. It becomes a thing. It's like when a woman gets pregnant, there's an egg and a sperm. It doesn't just turn right into a fully designed baby. There's stages of development. This must come first. That must come second. These guys can't see that because they don't study. And this is the issue. A lot of our people that we make these type of comments, the stuff that we seen that needed to happen in the 60s and in the 50s happened in the 60s and the 50s. The stuff that needs to happen now is happening now, but it could not have happened if the stuff in the 50s and the 60s had not happened. This is something these guys are not understanding. So let me play some more of this part of what Dinah said. Hold on.
So, and something else that was interesting in this video, Farrakhan mentioned how when they build a nation of their own, again, build a nation of their own, how they're going to have to deal with their traitors. But how can you deal with your traitors or your people when now you're saying, we don't really mean that we're going to build a nation of our own. We're going to build a nation within America where we have our own farmland. That's not a nation. You still govern and police by the laws of the United States of America.
If you govern and police by the laws of the United States of America, but let's say, for example, you have Georgia, Florida, Mississippi, you guys, the black people and the independent thinking black people, 80%, 90% of the population, we make up the National Guard. We got Nation of Islam officials in the police department, just like they have their KKK members in the police departments now. You have people that from the Hebrew Israelites or what have you, black organizations, the Moors that are attorneys. You got Moor Science Temple members that are attorneys. You got Hebrew Israelites or black Christian nationalists who are farmers or what have you. If we run and govern states, we're making the laws. That's how, they're not putting two and two together. they're still confused on this because, and it really is because they don't want it to happen. But let's listen to what else Dinah says. This is his thinking.
That's what it is. Like it doesn't make sense. But the NOI definitely played a role in the death of Malcolm X. And for the life of me, they will continue to play hot potato and deflect and not hold themselves accountable or apologize for the role. Yes, I'm saying the dude that did it, he was in the Cory Booker, like him and Cory Booker were boys. And then Cory Booker was like, I had no clue.
First of all, Cory Booker is the government. Cory Booker has access to all sorts of sensitive information. Dinah wants to continue to legitimize Cory Booker. I mean, this to me is just the mental gymnastics, foolishness, insanity. You're dealing with the government. This is why I'm going to keep this picture of you, Dinah. Because, bro, look, I don't know why this is so tough for people to understand. These people, first of all, the Nation of Islam is organizing black people to get something for themselves. We're subject to do all sorts of things because our people are not ready to run anything that big yet. But we are developing. Now that we have people who are trained into doing certain stuff, we're able to take on more. This is what you're doing. The Nation of Islam is not the only one doing stuff, but it seems like we are as a nation. But the point is, nobody else. You're Pan-Africanist, and you want to run away, but you keep coming back to America. You know, there's other Pan-Africanists. They live over there, and they still aren't changing the trajectory of white supremacy all over the planet. There is no deflection in the Nation of Islam. The records are exposed. The conversations for years and years and decades have been had. Just because you don't like, we're not going to say what you want to say. The truth is the truth, and that's it. That's the bottom line. The government killed Malcolm X. They set him up. They hired people. Thomas Hagen is a government agent. Ray Wood is a government agent. Gene Roberts is a government agent. I mean, this is the kind of stuff. Gene Roberts is a government agent. Let me share this here. This man infiltrated Malcolm X's organization. You know, we got to keep doing this. This man, Dinus, for some reason, he's just got this. It's almost like he's hypnotized to where he literally can only see negative in black people. He has this weird expectation that black people are to be perfect and that the evil deeds of white people, that we expect them to do evil, so we excuse that. You're not helping. It's an insane expectation. You're setting yourself up to be disappointed. I don't understand the people like this. But this is the kind of stuff this man here was paid to trick Malcolm X. He was sitting up there with Malcolm X. He helped set Malcolm X for death. I have the video. You know, let me see if I'll show. Let me pull it up. Second here. I'm gonna pull a video up on my thing here. Well, let me show you guys this. Let's look at the definition of a nation. Let's see. Let me just share full screen. Sometimes I hate doing this. I know this is one of those kind of just shows that I'm all over the place, but let's look at the definition of a nation. So there's several definitions. All right, let's look at this. This is Merriam-Webster's definition. Nation, nationality, three Slav peoples forged into a Yugoslavia without really fusing into Yugoslav nation. A politically organized nationality. So there you go. So number one is nationality, sense, and they give you a sense of it. Hans Cohen. Number two, a politically organized nationality. Okay. So I didn't see land anywhere yet. Number three, this is religious here. In the Bible, a non-Jewish nationality. Why do the nations conspire? Okay. A community of people composed of one or more nationalities and possessing a more or less defined territory and government. See? So just getting territory and land and learning how to run the government of an area, there you go. You're a nation. A territorial division containing a body of people of one or more nationalities, and usually characterized by relatively large size and independent status, usually. So this is the archaic definition of nation. A group or aggregation, a tribe or federation of tribes, as of American Indians, the Seminole Nation in Oklahoma. Okay, so these are some definitions of nations. Nation, biographical name. All right. Now, other people, they have the definition, usually has a similar history. A nation, a country, divine, a human group consciousness of forming a community, sharing a common culture attached to a clearly. So here's another one. All right. So what is a nation? So this person, Gouverneur, has defined the nation as a human group consciousness of forming a community, sharing a common culture attached to a clearly demarcated territory, having a common past and a common project for the future, and claiming the right to rule itself. Okay? So that's a pretty good definition. Now, have we achieved that yet as a people of America? Not yet. Not black people. Because we're not really a part of the United. We kind of are a part of the United States of America, but we're not an equal part of the United States of America. Okay? We're not an equal part of the United States of America yet. And we might not even ever be an equal. We don't really need to go for equal parts of the United States of America because, they started that and they just don't want to accept us. Cool. But we have to have our own area so that if we attain the right to clearly demarcate our portion and we can fend for ourselves. So that's a nation. So, I'm just touching base on a couple of points this brother touched on. Let me go through here because I'll put it down in the comment section, just to check out the video that he did. But it's kind of, it's the same old stuff. It's the same old stuff. He has some sisters on here that's, they come on, they sound crazy. All right, let's see. Yeah. Let's see what they say here.
A street gang. That's it. Just say they're a street gang. There's no organization. I just wanted to say this regarding him being a traitor. I always wondered what that term means. And I think Brandon is missing one point, that the Nation of Islam.
Now hold on.
It's a nation.
Now hold on here. So Brandon,
You go in.
So Brandon, this is him. This is Brandon. He's showing his face. And, he's critical of the nation. He's debated people in the nation. But on this particular post, he did make some sense. He had some sort of integrity. Let's see here. I'll share this portion, but I'm not going to show the actual so this is the commentary here.
They are viewing themselves like a nation. What is the punishment for betraying the United States of America in a treasonous way, Dynast? You muted. What's the punishment?
You talking to me?
Anybody.
You get death or imprisonment.
Death or imprisonment, right? So what you got to understand is Malcolm X signed up to be a part of that nation. That's the rules he agreed to be a part of, right? So when he went out and spoke against Elijah Muhammad, he committed treason against their nation. So if you look at this from a empirical standpoint or a political standpoint, they were within their rights to put him to death, just like if you commit treason against the United States, they are within their rights to put you to death. So either we're going to look at the nation like what they said they was, or we're going to take all these emotional reasons why they shouldn't have did, fine, he worked for the house. That's just emotional stuff. I'm looking at this straight up and down. He was in a nation. He pledged his allegiance to that nation. He went against that nation. And he was given the penalty of death, and they tried to kill him. Now, United States.
Hold on. That's the part you're wrong. The Nation of Islam did not try to kill Malcolm X. And this is the issue that I'm having with this conversation, because these folks are ignoring all the facts. This is what I can't stand, when black people have conversations and you think you're going to have productive conversations and you literally ignore actual facts. There are facts involved in these cases, especially when you're talking about condemning a group of people. When you're talking about condemning a group of people, you got to deal with facts. Dr. Wesley Muhammad he put out the facts here. Dr. Wesley,
Second,
slow.
I would like to offer my congratulations.
Hold on.
Together. Files that originated in New York are grouped together. files that are initiated in Phoenix and other areas are grouped together. Carl Levin says this particular claim that Malcolm discovered while going through the financial records of Chicago, he discovered.
This is the wrong one, but let me see here. The brother just posted. Hold on. Hold on 1 second here. I just want to show y'all a couple of things. I mean, I'm just up here touching base on something. If somebody wants to come up and ask any questions, you can write down and I'll drop the link. If not, it's okay. I'm just putting this up just for us to hold on a second. Do it this way. As the brother just dropped some information here. Here it is.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace, family.
All right.
For both men.
Okay.
And he engendered in his followers a great respect, honor, and love for both men. Now, because
Leads to his departure, and this is a sensitive one, and I feel like a lot of people never really want to kind of have this discussion, but it was reported that one day Malcolm X is going over to the minister's house, and he sees about some young girls banging on the door, alleging
the messenger's house, you mean?
Oh yes, what did they say?
The minister's.
Oh yes, thank you, the messenger's house. And alleging that he's the father of their children and they're part of the NOI and he's not taking care of them. Malcolm X goes and says something to Wallace, which is one of the sons of the messenger, who says, who he himself in the 1994 documentary, that he had been aware of his father's relationships, but it hadn't fully registered in his head. And so, so Wallace then says that he's being accused by the nation for being like a traitor, when he's saying, well, he didn't just tell Malcolm. Malcolm asked him, and then he told him, whereas Malcolm publicly said that Wallace told him. But there's a lot going on right there, because essentially he's
there's
saying
nothing going on
teenage
right
girls.
there.
Okay. So did
I'm,
he have young teenage wives?
So I'm going to take the steering wheel now, because that's where I wanted to start.
Okay.
That absolutely is part of the false narrative. And let me preface it with the authoritative statement of the false narrative. Mm-hmm. Carl Levin's. This is the linchpin of the false narrative. He said, quote, Malcolm quit the sect, Nation of Islam, in March 1964 after discovering that Elijah Muhammad, the leader of the NOI, who claimed to be a divine prophet, had fathered over half a dozen children by at least 6 of his former personal secretaries, end quote. That is an absolute falsehood. That is the linchpin of the false narrative. That is central to the history of the legacy of the postal stamp Malcolm X. But it is false. Why is it false?
Yes, and then how do you explain his son?
I will get to all that. So now,
okay,
be patient.
All righty.
Okay. I got the steering wheel now. Feel free to ask questions as they come, but I'm going to allow willing.
Mhm.
We are going to clear that all up. Get it on record. So neither you or us or the viewers of this will never fall victim to that false narrative. Again, a false narrative that it has to be said and acknowledged, Brother Rochester. A false narrative that began with Malcolm himself. Malcolm discovered, the false narrative says, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad impregnated some little secretaries. He discovered this, and as a result of this discovery, in March 1964, he leaves the Nation of Islam. His confidence in his teacher is crushed. He cannot attest to the morality of the spiritual leader anymore. And so he has to leave the Nation of Islam in March 1964. Absolutely nothing could be further from the truth. Malcolm X did not make a discovery of his teacher's domestic life in which he took wives from among the community. Malcolm didn't find that out in 1964, get crushed by it, suffer a spiritual crisis because of it, and leave the Nation of Islam. That never happened like that. Malcolm, by his own admission, first found out of the domestic life of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad in December 1962. Do the math. It's 2 years. Or at least, over a year. He finds out December 1962. And how does he find out? This is very important. It's very important. What happened by December of 1962, such that certain aspects of his teacher's domestic life came to his attention. What happened was November, quote, on November 11th, 1961, approval was given for a high-level counterintelligence program. This is from FBI memorandum, November 27th, 1968. It says in November 11th, 1961, approval was given for a high-level counterintelligence program against the Nation of Islam by Hoover, entitled Nation of Islam IS-NOI, meaning Internal Security NOI. This program was initiated by Chicago and resulted in a nationwide counterintelligence program which showed fallacies and weaknesses of the NOI to the public. The program continues. A key aspect of that counterintelligence effort that began November 1961 to expose weaknesses.
Now I'm gonna pause it right there because anybody who cares about the truth, they would actually be listening. But people who just want to keep a false narrative, they would have tuned out by now. They would call this deflection. They would come up with other words to You know, I'm going to put this link that Dr. Wesley had in it because he actually went through this stuff and took his time to go through it. And the bottom line is, you know, he goes through it. He gives you an official statement. The Nation of Islam has books that can be analyzed, researched, fact checked. Okay, that's why scholarship is important. Okay, because people who are not good at planning, who are not good at record keeping, who are not good at remembering the history, trying again, who are not good at setting things up and competing over a protracted period of time. You have to compete with your enemy over decades and years. You can't just sit there, like I said, like the stuff that Dynasty and them do. They sit here, they look at stuff in the moment, and they'll just, they just start talking. That's really what they do. They start talking, and based on what they think, they're not in the nation, they've never been in the nation. They just debate. They get a clip of this or a clip of that, and they come up with some ideas and confusion. They don't see what's happening in different years. Dynasty Amir would not even be going to Africa doing what he does if let's say the nation had crumbled right after Malcolm. Dynasty Amir would not be doing what he does because the nation kept going. And
it was a task that I enjoyed.
Black Power, which is Kwame Ture, he was protected by the messenger. And he kept advising Minister Farrakhan because he knew what the messenger wanted. He learned from the messenger.
Time the Honorable Elijah Muhammad passed. Before his death, you know, death has robbed me of so many things in life. It really has, really has. The most recent one was I have a brother who's in jail in Florida for killing a white policeman. This brother has been isolated in jail. Nobody writes him, so he has a lot of problems. And his father and I knew each other from struggling days back in the 60s in Dayton. Asked me to write him. I wrote him. So you know when brothers are in jail, they ain't got nothing to do. So he writes me a letter every day. And I respond to all his letters because he's in jail, you know. And last year, when speaking on the telephone, I told him I think I have everything careful. I'm going to speak to Bill Kunstler, and I'm sure Bill Kunstler will look at the case. In March of last year, I had lunch with Bill Kunstler and in New York here, and Bill Kunstler agreed to take the case. And he said, but you know, I'm just a little bit busy now. Give me about 2 or 3 months, and then send me a letter, and I'll pick up the case. So I waited 2 or 3 months, and when I wrote the letter, before the letter arrived, Kunstler was dead. So death has robbed me of many political victories in life and created more work for me, but I'm a revolutionary. I accept it because I know my death is going to create a lot of work for others. So it's robbed me of a lot. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad's death robbed the All-African People's Revolutionary Party of a golden chance to create the United Front. Of course, you know, when the Nation of Islam came up, there was first Wallace Dean Muhammad, the son of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and then, you know, there was a little discussion, and finally Minister Louis Farrakhan decided to return with the original theories and actions of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. When Minister Louis Farrakhan first came out, of course, now let's let you know, I've known Minister Louis Farrakhan for over 30 years and worked with him for over 30 years. Of course, we're not in the press all the time, but we're in contact all the time. And Minister Louis Farrakhan and I discussed much, step by step. Of course, the only thing I had in my mind was the African United Front. That's all I want. And Minister Farrakhan said, okay, he sees it, he understands it, but he needs to get a little bit stronger. Fine. In 1982, our party made an assessment, and we said, okay, the Nation of Islam is strong enough now to do the work for the African United Front. We cannot do it the All-African People's Revolutionary Party because from the time they see us, we tell them we're revolutionary, we're socialist, we ain't bending, we're anti-Zionist, you can do what you want, that's your problem. You understand? So we don't bend, but the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he's charming and, he's sentimental. Minister can quote Bibles, so he can sit down with preachers and all these others, etc. So after observing his movements, the All African People's Revolutionary Party mandated me to go and visit Minister Louis Farrakhan and to give him the files of the African United Front and tell him that it was his responsibility to call the front. Of course, it was a task that I enjoyed undertaking. I hadn't seen him in some time, and I had a beautiful day. We spent the entire day at his house there in Chicago. He just separated from Dean Wallace Muhammad, and his force had been coming back. And I took for him some old copies of Muhammad Speaks. Now, if you look at the old copies of Muhammad Speaks, every middle page that you open had two black hands reaching across the oceans calling for a united front. Every issue of Muhammad Speaks. We must know our history, and we will never be ungrateful to those who taught us. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad has taught me an awful lot, and I know he's taught our people an awful lot, and for that alone, I'll be forever grateful to him. Minister Farrakhan agreed to take the program. He had no choice. I told him, this is your program. This is what your leader says you're supposed to do. He ain't my leader, he's your leader. And you say you're following his footsteps, and he was getting ready to do it. He didn't do it. Here's your chance. You're supposed to do what he didn't do, So, of course, Farrakhan had no choice. He had to accept it. We were well prepared. Everything was in proper order to have, finally, once again, our African United Front. By when was Jesse first talking about running for president? It was 1984. 83 was the announcement. When did Farrakhan make the alliance with him? November 83. So by 82, I left. I went back to Africa. Everything was moving. I was in contact with Minister Farrakhan. Our party people were in contact, feeding us step by step. I came back in early 1983. I met with Minister Farrakhan. I explained to him precisely the steps that we thought we could help in bringing the African United Front together. After some time, he asked that we have a meeting late in the year, probably around September, October. I'm telling the truth exactly what was said at the meeting. Minister Farrakhan said to me, at that time, Jesse Jackson had declared he was going to run for presidency, and he was under a lot of threats, And I certainly thought that some crazy whitey was going to pop him, But I have no problem with it. My life is on the line all the time. I put my life on the line for one thing. You put your life on the line for another thing. I ain't got no problem with it. So Minister Louis Farrakhan came to see me. He said, and he's very clever, Minister Farrakhan. He's very clever. When he wants to soften you up, he comes, he always plays that violin for you. Oh, Brother Kwame, you're my younger brother. But you are so profound in political analysis. You surpass us all, that even though I am your older brother, I must come and seek advice from you. He's rough, he's rough on that violin. He sings some sweet songs on that violin. So, of course, after seeking my advice, he came to seek my advice. He said, I want to make a decision. I said, what's that decision? He said, I want to put the FOI at the disposition of Jesse Jackson to protect him. I said, well, if you want to do that, that's your decision. He said, well, you don't seem enthusiastic about it. I said, well, I'm not. He said, well, Jesse Jackson might get killed. I said, he probably will get killed. He said, don't you think we need to protect him? I said, that's your decision. It's your FOI. He said, so now he saw that it was getting serious. He said, he's clever. Because he'll switch on you fast. If you don't switch with him, you'll be in back gear while he's in front gear. You're already saying yes when you thought you were saying no. Yeah, he's rough. He said, well, I bet if you were being hounded and attacked by people, you'd want the FOI to protect you. I reminded him very slowly.
This is the Muhammad Speaks that he's talking about. And he showed, just to show everybody that. And I just want to show this story because these people who talk, they don't understand how the generations, things have to be done generationally. Certain connections, certain problems have to be solved, and then the next generation is supposed to do something. And then when you start spitting and you start undermining the previous generation completely, it's not constructive criticism, but you having destructive criticism, then you're not really getting the situation. You're not getting what you want done, because these things have to happen in order.
Very carefully. Minister Farrakhan, when I was elected chair of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, the first public meeting I had as chair was a meeting with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in his house in Chicago, where I spent 15 hours. In fact, it was here that I met Muhammad Ali for the first time. This is way back. This is before, well, no, you old people, so I would say before you were born. We were talking about 1966 here, easily. 30 years ago, yeah. At the end of the meeting, of course, you know I'm a young man. I'm 26 years old at this time, 26. I've heard the Honorable Elijah Muhammad all my life. What am I going to say to this man? This man used to raise me up, you understand? This man taught me things, gave me courage. I said, he's saying that on the radio? Is he crazy? Yeah, he's a white devil. That's what I said. They ain't nothing but white devils. That's what they, yeah. Yes. He tell the truth right out there. He wouldn't bite his tongue for nothing. And I reminded Honorable Elijah, the Minister Farrakhan, I said, at the end of the day, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad looked at me. I was sitting directly across from his table. He said, son, he said, the devil wants you. I said, yes, sir. He said, son, the devil is out to get you. I said, yes, sir. He said, son, you must be careful. I said, yes, sir, I'll be very careful all my life. I've been working in a mine pit among the enemy, and I'm older now. I have more experience. So he said, they're mean, I said, yes, sir, I know they're mean. He said, they're going to get you. I said, yes, sir. He said, so, son, I'm going to put the FBI at your the FOI at your disposition. Everywhere you go, I'm going to send out an order that the FOI must protect you. Now, this was really too much for me, So I said, well, sir, thank you, but the FOI is so busy. I'm so busy. I'm running here and there. This will be such a task for them. Really, I thank you, sir. I really appreciate it, sir. And I go through all this humble pie about thank you, but I don't need it. You know what he said? He said, son, I wasn't asking you. That's just what he told me. And if you go and look at pictures in the past, you'll see everywhere I go, the FOI was there protecting me from the 60s. You will look and you will see that. So I reminded this to Minister Louis Farrakhan. I reminded him of it. And I said, Minister Farrakhan, the FOI will protect me, but I promise you they will never protect me because I want to be President of the United States of America. They might protect me because I want to rip up America, but never because I want to be President of America. Well, he saw that his clever trick didn't go so well.
All right, so I just want y'all to see that part. And this part here is, and then I'm going to end this portion off. The messenger was telling him something that he did not know, and no one really knew at that time. When the J. Edgar Hoover, they had that COINTELPRO, everybody thought it was a trick. They listed on their list of possible messiahs. They had one man was not standing. What interest could an intelligence agency have with one man who plainly believed in peace? They called Martin Luther King a possible one of the. Their job is to prevent the rise of a black messiah. In August 1967, 4 months after King called the U.S. government to the greatest purveyor of violence in the world, there was 3 months after 30 members of the Black Panther Party marched armed in California state capitol in front of J. Edgar Hoover, the head of American domestic law enforcement, the FBI, issued the following directive. The purpose of this new counterintelligence endeavors is to expose, disrupt, misdirect, discredit, or otherwise neutralize the activities of black nationalists, hate-type organizations and groupings, their leadership, spokesmen, membership, and supporters. And by hate-type organizations, Hoover explained that he meant such groups as the SNCC, Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, Southern Christian Leadership Conference, the Congress of Racial Equality, the Nation of Islam, the group Malcolm X belonged to until shortly. Well, the Nation of Islam, everybody knows that one. And then H. Rap Brown, Stokely Carmichael, Black Panthers. So they were, H. Rap Brown is in jail still. Stokely Carmichael, he didn't go to jail or anything because he was protected. They got Malcolm X because he separated himself from the Nation of Islam. They were planning to get Malcolm X anyway, but they have to separate you from your organization so that when you get assassinated, then you're not considered, like, you're not used to recruit, which they still messed up with that because we end up recruiting with the movie and stuff. But the point is, when the messenger was warning Stokely Carmichael, he was already he knew that the enemy was going after him. And when we're looking at Negroes like, people like Dynas and some of these guys who still they just want to sit there complaining, really. They can't reproduce what the Nation of Islam is even doing in a small part. They can't even reproduce, and they don't want to work together. What they want to do is just side with the U.S. government and complain. Because I don't know why. For some reason, they want to harp on everything that's negative that they can see. They can't even say, okay, agree to disagree on these points, but we agree on this point. The Pan-Africanism movement, this is pretty much one of the fathers of that.
So he backed up again.
Carmichael. And that all was helped to that was, that owes a debt to the nation, to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But these guys are right here, right now. They're trashing. I mean, they literally are trashing. They'll trash. Now, Brandon, I guess because he was in an environment where everybody was trashing, he has to be contrary no matter what. So he kind of pushed back on them with some of his arguments, which was good. But, let's see what these guys are talking about. I'm just wanting to, because every time I let this play, they just say some more ignorance. But I think we're going to end this off in a couple seconds.
We might not like the way they do what they do. We might not agree based on moral reasons with the fact that Snowden is going to jail or whatever and stuff like that. But we still have to observe the laws of the land because we pledged allegiance to this nation. When you was a little kid in school, I pledged allegiance to the flag. That was you saying, look, I fall under your jurisdiction and whatever crimes you see fit to whatever punishment you see fit.
You occupy the place
against you. I agree to suffer that penalty. Malcolm X did the same thing. I care for. I love his family. He's a nice guy.
But Brandon, if that
he worked hard, but those are rules.
But Brandon, if that's the case, then people who speak out against Trump or Biden or any president should be put to death.
No. Look, back in the day, that could happen to you. Now they don't do that because of public relations and image reasons. But back in the day, if you spoke against the king, your head was gone. So that was
First of all, Brandon, he'll just say anything just because he got to have an answer for anything. But the point is, this is after, the messenger even put out, we don't kill Muslims. We don't kill people just because they disagree with us. This right here. The murdering and killing of a lost found Muslim gets you immediate hell. Regardless of who kills a Muslim, he must be killed, according to the Holy Quran, chapter 4. This the Bible teaches also. It is the Muslims that Jesus referred to, that if you offend one of the least, killing at the least of these, it would have been better that you had been in the depths of the sea with a millstone around your neck. The Bible, Matthew 18:6. It is mentioned in the Old Testament that the blood of his saints is precious in his eyes. He, Allah, threatened to burn me, talking about him, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He, Allah, threatened to burn me and my whole family if I just carelessly misplaced a letter wherein one of the lost founds is writing in on his acceptance of Islam. Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praise is due forever, said to me in these words, if the devil kills one of my least ones, followers, he would kill 10 of the devil's best ones. And this is evident. The lost found Muslims have been lost here in the West, USA, for over 400 years, mistreated as the Bible in Psalms teaches. We are killed daily. We walk in the shadow of death in the government of America. This is really true without any question. The blood of us, the lost founds, is precious in the sight of Allah, and he will retaliate against the murderer. The white man has had freedom for 400 years to kill so-called Negro, the lost found, at will without any thought of punishment for the murder of his slave. But now, as the Bible teaches you, on the coming of God to us, we are no more termed forsaken. It is easy for you to think, after robbing and spilling us and spoiling us of the knowledge of self and having it to your joy to murder and kill us for these centuries, that your joy is to continue this. But Allah is with us today to make reprisals against every act of unjustified evils done to those who are trying to turn to righteousness. This is the way he makes himself known, by retaliating against the enemy's evil done to us. So, and it goes on to say, in Dallas, Texas, one of the brothers had been attacked by the police and got shot. But the messenger said he was one of the least ones, because the brother had actually took the gun from the police, but was too scared to shoot the police and tried to run away. And then the police still shot him. So yeah, I guess the other police shot him or what have you. But the point is, he shouldn't have ran. He should have shot that police, because that police was there to kill you. You don't supposed to run away from them. Okay, especially if Allah bless you to take their weapon from them. You don't just run away so they can just kill you, with some other weapon or something like that. So the point is, this is in 1968, October 18th, 1968. The messenger is not a hypocrite. He's not saying he didn't kill Malcolm X. He's teaching the Muslims that you don't kill Muslims. You don't kill people who are trying to turn to righteousness. You don't kill people, that's not our teaching. So a lot of these people, they just talk based upon their mindset. I mean, it's so much to go through. I mean, we'd be here forever, and we have been here forever, talking, dealing with people. And this is why it is offensive. It's very hurtful. It's irritating when Black people, when you're sacrificing so much, and then people and who it's just like, you're trying to teach, and they're spitting in your face, cussing you out. They're picking the enemy above you, your word. You got to go through hell and high water to prove every single dimension. And then when you prove all the facts that you're completely innocent, these people still turn around and they'll say stuff like, well, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you had something to do with it. They just You know, no matter how many documents you come out showing them, these people,
primitive style of
they'll lie.
Keeping how we got to stay on code, but you don't hold people accountable. And
how do you hold someone accountable and you don't have the power to enforce accountability? And then you don't have the power to actually verify the facts. How do you hold somebody accountable for what they've actually done versus a lie that you simply believe? And this is the stupid stuff that a lot of our people get into.
But what you're saying, this is just complete anarchy. Then what you're saying, man, they're not the organized nation that they portray themselves to be. They're just a street gang. That's it. Just say they're a street gang. There's no organization. Because again, even this country, as evil as it is, they will, if you do something treason, there's a lot of people they sent out on an island and let them go their way. The Nation of Islam couldn't do that. Did you know that? And let me say this too. I myself, I've never been to Chicago before. I am going to make a plan to go out to Chicago. I want to see Mas Mariam. If they don't have something, some sort of, I don't know, like a picture or something for Malcolm and Khalid, let's not leave him out there. Khalid helped build that thing throughout the 90s. And the guy who shot Khalid Muhammad, that dude has a YouTube channel right now. You know that? What I'm saying is
first of all, Khalid Muhammad was not killed with a gun. I believe he did get shot in the foot, but you know, that's a whole nother situation. But these people want to make it seem like he ends it right there as if Khalid Muhammad was shot, as if he was killed. No, he was not killed there. He died of a blood clot to the heart, and he was right there in Kennestone Hospital in Marietta, surrounded by his family. You know, they just put out this misinformation, and you know, this can continue to confuse people. But this is our job, just to keep letting people know, like, dude, this is what's up. But I don't want to keep going on this. It was a couple other points in here that they said some real ignorant things, but I think we're done. And this is the problem too with Dynast. Dynast has over, 100,000 subscribers, 103,000 subscribers. This brother does a lot of work overseas. He's very international. So he have people in from the continent and from other spots. He's spreading this misinformation stuff. Now a brother calls in speaking he's not even in the nation, but he speaks some basic common sense stuff, and they still just come with the ignorance.
Establishment figures all the time. They don't kill them.
I agree. Facts.
Hey, real quick, get your hands out of my pocket. You're go ahead.
Peace, brothers. Sorry, that's background. Yeah, I'm gonna eliminate that. I like to bring balance to the discussion, and obviously when this topic comes up every February 21st, it gets heated, and a lot of brothers get on the panel discussion. We talk about it for hours, and obviously it's a hot topic and something that we're going to talk about for the next 20, 30, 40 years, or how long it is to, topple this government and do what needs to be done, as opposed to discussing the merits of previous revolutionaries to try to finish their work. I think we all agree that Malcolm would much rather us finish his work than talk about the ins and outs of his assassination. If we really are fans of Malcolm, followers of Malcolm, or follow his philosophy, or read his teachings and things like that, we could all agree that he would much rather us spend the majority of our time finishing his work than talking about the merits of his assassination. Now, and most
brother, if I can interject, we don't spend the majority of our time talking about assassination.
I'm familiar with you, Dynast. I see your work that you do in Africa. I understand. I'm just talking about generally speaking. Generally speaking, I know you in the continent, you're doing your work. I understand that. But when this assassination date comes, we get to talking about his assassination, and I'm sure you are aware of many a YouTuber who spends most of their time YouTubing. Now, the proof is in your pudding. I see you on the continent with the people, so I'm not speaking towards you. The other brothers I'm not familiar with too much, but I'm just generally speaking black men in general thought process of trying to break this story down as much as possible, and it needs to be done. Malcolm is a great historical figure, follower of Malcolm. So I know his history. I can, ride with anybody else who knows his history, but I'm also humble. So if someone knows something I don't know, then I will listen. Now, in regards to the Nation of Islam, I have close ties to the Nation of Islam. Again, when we talk about this discussion, there's not enough balance. There's a lot of Nation of Islam dislike us, and you have people have their rights to dislike the nation, but we also, as civilized men, have people who are fans of the nation. I've worked with members of the Nation of Islam. I'm a nationalist. I'm a hardcore nationalist. I'm an anti-white nationalist, if you want to call them that. And I can be around my nation brothers and sisters and talk about the ills of white man and what he done to black people, and they won't shush me. They won't say, hey, can't say that, and get nervous around me because I'm an activist in my community, and people get away from me because of my hard line. And the only people who are around are the brothers and sisters of the nation. Now, I've asked a few about Malcolm, whatever, but I have my own literature and seen documentaries and all that other stuff, so I can do my own research. Now, you deal with the actual assassination, right? One line that the brothers and sisters from the nation parrot, or just the brothers really, because the sisters don't do much talking. We take a lot of time in blaming ourselves for our implicity with Malcolm's assassination and never look at the person who's behind everything. I heard brothers mention the New York police force, and it's kind of like haphazardly. Yes, the CIA, the government, the New York Police Department, but the trigger men were black people. See how we just kind of like, hey, white folks are involved, but really black people. We tend to do that. We love black people.
And it should be like that because it should. But see, what you're doing, you're saying that black people have no self-control, can't think for themselves, and then when presented by two pieces of silver, we just got to sell out. So it's the white man's fault. No,
is it not?
Now, see, this man here, he presented a actual fact, but Dynas does not. Dynas believes in his mind that we are not supposed to hold the white man accountable for what the white man has actually done. We're supposed to complain and hold ourselves accountable for what the white man has said we have done. And these are black people who have literally been hired by the white man first and then told to infiltrate an organization to make the organization look bad. And y'all falling for the thing straight up. It's really irritating for me. But like I said, this is the kind of conversations that we'll just have to keep having. And, it is what it is, guys. Peace, love, Like I said, I don't expect everybody to listen to this whole thing. But, if you get through this, go ahead and put a thumbs up on it. Peace.